Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Sheila, yoga teacher at Red Wing YMCA. We are going to get started with a chair yoga practice in just a moment or so. So all you need is yourself, obviously, and a chair. That's it. Maybe if you want something to drink, some water. I'm a big iced tea drinker in the morning, so I'm still drinking my iced tea. But otherwise, head on over to the chair and we will get started. So if you are new to chair yoga, awesome. The practice we have today is going to be a great, gentle chair practice. And I have some other videos if you're new and you want to learn more, but otherwise, all you need is the chair. Again, and finding a chair that allows you to put your feet on the floor is awesome. And sometimes that can be tricky depending on your height, but just find a real comfortable chair, a sturdy chair. As some of my chair yogis know, I forever was using a fold-up chair, which is not a great idea because it can fold up. And then my mom got me one of her mini chairs. So no worry about me folding up during class, all right? So we are gonna get started. Again, all you need is a chair, all you need is yourself. And if you're new to chair yoga and you're thinking, well, why would I do chair yoga? I think chair yoga has so many similarities with regular yoga in that we work on strength, on flexibility, we work on balance and range of motion. The only difference is that chair yoga is a little bit more friendly on your joints, particularly your wrists and your knees, because we do not use the mat. We do the same standing poses that we would do in regular non-chair yoga, whatever regular yoga is, but mat yoga. So we do our warriors, our balance, all those kinds of things. But in chair yoga, we spend very little time on our wrist and we don't spend time on our knees. So it's just an option. The other thing that is so awesome about chair yoga is once you know a lot of these stretches, there are things that you can do anytime you happen to be sitting around a little bit. So if you're watching TV or you're just sitting waiting for something, you can do any of these stretches. I do a lot of them when I'm standing in line at the grocery store, which I feel also probably people give me more space because of that, and that is not a bad thing. So you can use it that way too. So anyhow, we are going to get started. And again, the first thing we always think about with chair yoga is spinal integrity, right? So in yoga, we want integrity of the movements, meaning we don't want to just do a lot of movements. We want to make sure they're aligned and we're getting the most benefit from them, right? So the first thing is when you come to your chair, plant those feet firmly on the floor, all right? Again, if you're a person that's more petite, you may have to experiment a little bit to find the chair that works for you. It doesn't have to have a back. A piano bench can work really well, or a stool, just something solid, all right? Now, the one thing we spend a lot of time on is posture. So I'm just turning to the side for a second. Most of the time I'll be facing you. Sometimes I'll turn to the side if I think it might be easier to see. So as you sit in your chair right now, think a little bit about spinal integrity. And what I mean by that is we want our head aligned over our tail. So we have this one long line. You think about it like as if you're a marionette and you had this string going from your head down to your tail. So we don't want a rounded back. We want a long, tall spine. We want our shoulders down and back. The other thing is if you do have a back on the chair, as we do chair yoga, what I would recommend is not sitting against the back of the chair, coming forward a little bit, again, finding that spinal integrity, rolling those shoulders down and back, really long spine, head is looking directly ahead. Now, this looks really easy, but we don't sit like this a lot in the day, so sometimes your abs are going to get tired and you're going to think, and if you need to slide back for a minute, then just come back up and join us with that strong spine. All right, so today we are starting with a series I'm very excited about, as some of you know, because we've been doing a little bit, the Pavanmuktasana, and I like it not just because it's really fun to say, but it is about a joint freeing or joint opening series. So I posted a video a couple days ago that was a little longer video, just focused on that series. So today we're going to move through that series. And the idea with that is we move from our toes all the way up to the top of our head and then our spine to get everything moving. Get this novial fluid moving, get moving. So I often say to my yoga folks that a phrase I've heard many times, don't practice yoga to get better at yoga, practice yoga to get better at living. So that's what we're doing today. So let's just take a moment, do a little check your spinal integrity, shoulders are over your hips, head is over your heart, sitting up nice and tall, maybe forward a little bit in your chair, all right? And we are going to start with our toes. So we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to move on up. All I'm going to do is bring my feet out in front of me. I'm going to back up a little bit. Sometimes I run into the window. All right, I'm bringing my heels around the ground. My toes are up. And all I'm going to do is squeeze my toes and release my toes. So I'm going to do that about 10 times, okay? And as I do that, I'm just going to bring myself back to my breath and just take some nice slow inhales and exhales. And you can sync that up with your toes. You don't have to, okay? There's a lot about breathing in yoga. Sometimes you just want to focus on the poses. Sometimes you want to integrate the breath. It's all good, right? There's no yoga police that'll say you aren't integrating your breath. You've got to do what feels good to you. All right, so we've got about 10 times of those toes squeezing and opening. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to bring those feet back in and I'm going to move to my ankles. So our ankles, we can move two ways, right? We have the rotation and then we have the hinge. So we are going to start with our pointing and flexing, okay? So I'm pointing both of my feet at the same time. You can choose to do one. Now the other thing is right now I'm holding my spine up really tall. So you know that if your heels are off the ground, your abs are working to hold you in place. You can put your hands on the side. You can put your hands anywhere you want, but we're getting that hinge joint moving in the ankles. Awesome, one more. Let them come down. So if you're doing this on your own, you just count anywhere from 5 to 10 times. If you want to do it longer, great. Now we're going to lift those heels up again, and we're going to begin ankle rotation. So a lot of our joints have rotation, that ball and socket. A lot of our joints have hinge. We want to get them moving in all the directions. Doesn't matter which way you start with your ankle rotations, but now go ahead and reverse it. So whichever way you were going, reverse it. You can also go the same way with both of your ankles. Again, it doesn't matter. It's that we're getting them moved in their full rotation. Awesome. Let's let those ankles come down. Again, do a little check. Just get that spine nice and long and tall, shoulders down and back. We're just going to move into our knee joints. So I'm going to pick up my right leg. You can choose either leg. And I'm holding underneath that thigh, and all I'm going to do is just let this right foot swing a little bit. Right foot swing is tricky for me to say today. All right, so it's really supported by my arms. Spine still nice and tall. All right, we're just getting that joint, that knee joint. We talk a lot about knees in yoga because we want to strengthen them, but we want to protect them. Now let's let that foot come down. We're going to go to the other side again. We're just swinging this knee joint. Keep breathing. And you can see as we do these stretches, you can see why they're so easy to incorporate if you're just sitting someplace, especially at home. But out in public maybe is fine too. All right, let's let our knees come down again. Let's just check that spinal integrity, making sure that we're nice and tall. Take a nice inhale and a strong exhale, and we are going to move on to the hips. So we're going to start with a hip opener. All right, so all I'm going to do is lift my right foot off the ground a little bit. My knee is bent, of course, and I'm going to open and close. Again, hands can come to the side of your chair if that makes you feel better. They can be on your lap. They can be almost any place you want, but we're just hinging that hip joint open. It's just open, close, open, close. Again, if you're doing this on your own, maybe 5 to 10 times, okay? All right, let's let that one close and we're gonna go to the other one. Now, you can also slow this down if you want to be more intentional, where you inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, okay? So you can do that as well. Again, for our purposes today, we're moving a little more quickly through these. However, when we do these movements, we don't want to make the movement quick. We don't want to do this, right? These are real slow, intentional movements. All right, one more. Let that hip come down. Again, just adjust your stance again, but it is a stance when you're seated. Make sure you've got your long spine. We're gonna go to hip circles right now. So now we're gonna get rotation in that joint. So I'm gonna lift up my right leg and I'm gonna open it to the side, and then I'm just gonna do circles with that hip. Again, wherever you would prefer to have your hands, you can do that. If you feel yourself starting to round, pull those shoulders down and back and straighten that spine. Now reverse the circle. So again, whatever direction you were going in, doesn't matter what direction you start in, just reverse it. If at any time, you want to let that hip down and then come back to it, please do that, right? It's awesome. All right, let's go to the other side. So we lift that knee up, we open that, and then we just begin to circle. Again, try to be conscious about your spine, staying nice and tall. You're working hard with your abs right now because that hip is moving. All right, let's reverse those circles. Again, slow and intentional. Awesome. All right, let's let that come down. Take a nice strong inhale and an exhale. Let's let our lower body rest for a little bit. We're gonna come to our fingers. I've been looking so forward to this because my arms are sore, my forearms are sore. So, all right, we're gonna start with our hands. So all we're gonna do is bring our arms out in front of us, okay? And I'm gonna flip my hands up. This is otherwise known as the stop in the name of love. Feel free to sing as long as you want. All right, I've got my hands facing you, all 10 fingers. And all I'm doing is squeezing the knuckles. So I'm bringing my hands in, my fingers in, I should say, not my hands. All right. Now, if it feels better for you and you want to lower the hands, the arms, that's fine too. If you want to rest them, that's fine too. So all I'm doing is squeezing. Okay. All right, and then I'm opening wide, obviously. So again, getting the fingers moving in all directions. Now I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm going to press my finger pads to each thumb. Okay, so as I bring a finger to that thumb, I'm pressing in. Now, if for some reason, if you have stiffness in your fingers and they don't quite come together to touch, no worries, right? Yours might be more of a C. But the more we use, the more we get the fluid moving, the more we keep moving. All right, now let's shake that out for a minute. Awesome. Now, let's bring those arms back out. I'm gonna tuck my thumbs in, and then I'm gonna grab my fingers in a fist. So I've tucked my thumbs, fingers are in a fist, and I'm gonna roll those wrists, okay? So I'm just gonna maybe do about half dozen one way. Again, which way you start doesn't matter. Awesome, now let's go the other way. So, and if you notice, it's not an arm circle, the movement is just in my wrist right now, because we're just getting the wrist going, okay? Awesome. Take those out. Let the arms come down, little shoulder roll, bring those arms back out in front. And we're gonna come back to our stop in the name of love, and we're gonna hinge down. So we're just up, down, up, down, All right, so just that's all we're doing right now. Excellent. Keep hinging. And let the arms come down. All right, great time if you want to take a drink of water or tea. Mine migrated someplace. Usually it's around here someplace. All right, we're going to move on to our elbows, which are hinge joints, right? So we're going to bring those arms up in front of us. Palms are open to the sky, and I'm just going to hinge, bringing my fingertips to my shoulders, and then I open. Again, you can incorporate your breath. Inhaling when you bring your fingertips in, exhaling when you open, or the opposite way. Either way is fine. When we do our standing poses, there are some ways that the breath is more logical, that, you know, we exhale when we are bending and different things like that. And most of these exercises, you can inhale or exhale, either way. All right, last one, let's let our fingertips come to our shoulders. Okay, so we've moved through that elbow joint, and now we are going to go to our shoulders, one of my favorite things. And I'll say hi to my little plant, which is a little close today. All right, we've got our chicken wings. That's what always makes me think of. Do a little check. Make sure your feet are firmly planted on the floor. Your spine is nice and long. And we're going to do these little shoulder circles, all right? So the description I've often heard used is, imagine you have a little crayon at the end of your elbow and you're just making these little circles. So we're starting pretty small. Keep breathing. Again, just follow your inhales and exhales. And if you want to make the circles a little bit bigger, you can. We're not going really big right now. The next time you come around, go ahead and reverse those circles. Okay, so we're just getting a little more movement. Shoulders are so important. And with chair yoga, like any practice you do, you modify, make it your own. If something doesn't feel good for you, our motto is, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, right? We don't want to cause injury. We want to build strength and flexibility. All right, let's let those circles cease. Let's cease the circles. All right, from here, we are going to open and close our elbows. So getting our shoulders working in a different way. So I'm going to bring my elbows together, and then I'm going to open them. And when I open them, think about putting a little squeeze in those shoulder blades in the back, all right? And then bring them forward. Open and a little squeeze. Squeeze those shoulder blades in the back. All right, shoulder strength is so critical for us, for all of us. Again, a little squeeze in the back. Go ahead and breathe. Make sure you're not holding your breath. 2 more. Awesome. Now, if your shoulders are talking to you right now and you want your hands to come down, go ahead and release them. If they're feeling pretty, they're not talking to you right now, let's go ahead and go weave your hands through your plant. If you happen to be sitting by a plant too, we're bringing our arms to the T. Now, we're letting our shoulders come down and back, away from our ears. We're petting the plants, all right? And all we're doing right now is building strength in our arms by holding our arms out long and strong. Some of you have heard my story about how I had an elementary teacher that if we talked too much, she'd make us stand with our arms out. And whenever I do this, she was actually an awesome teacher, right? This was a long time ago. But whenever I do this, I think of her because she was a great teacher. But man, my arms would get sore. And I wasn't even that talkative, at least according to me. All right, let's slowly let those arms come down. Do just a couple little shoulder rolls to release that. Shake the hands out. I'm going to move over just a touch so I'm out of my plant a little bit. Nothing personal. All right, last thing, we're going to bring those arms out. Last thing with our shoulders and our arms. All right, now, still in my plant. Give me just a second here. All right, there we go. All right, we are going to do something, I think, as the soup can dump. You know, you picture that you would have 2 soup cans in your hands. I would say chicken gumbo soup, and if you have chicken gumbo soup, don't let them out of your hands because they are really hard to find right now. All right, so what we're doing is we're moving our shoulders and dumping out those cans. So our movement isn't in the wrist. I'm not twisting my wrist. I am moving in my shoulders. The movement's emanating from my shoulders. Now, another way to do this is you could do it this way too. You could forgo the chicken gumbo soup cans and bring your hands down this way. So we're just working on that shoulder movement, shoulder rotation. Awesome. And you don't really need to have soup cans in your hands. It's a visual. All right, one more. Then let those arms come down, which might feel good about now, right? But that's how we're building strength and flexibility in our joints and our arms, etc. We're going to move on to our head and our neck. So that cervical part of our spine, cervical spine. So we talk a lot about thinking about our spine being from the tip of our head down to our tail because, you know, we've got all this part of our spine and we want to strengthen all of it and increase range of motion in them. When you think about your head, how you can move your neck and your head completely impacts your view of the world, right? So important to be able to do that. All right, so we're focusing on the cervical spine right now. So first, take a nice inhale, and then on an exhale, let your chin drop to your chest. Okay, we still got this spinal integrity, all right, with our posture, but we're just getting a stretch in the back of the neck. Keep breathing. Awesome. Now, on your next inhale, bring your chin back up so you're center. On your exhale, lift that chin a little bit for a little bit of a throat stretch, okay? Your head can go back as far as is comfortable for you. Now on your next exhale, bring your head back center. Take an inhale and drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you keep breathing. So we're loosening up this part of our body. Sometimes in our classes, we have the option of putting our hand on top of the head, not to force our head, but just to add some weight. Sometimes we bring our arm out to the other side and wiggle those fingers, just activating the arm. We've already done a lot of arm activation, right? All right, now release your head, bring it center. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, let's let the left ear float to the left shoulder. Floating. It just sounds so, I don't know, so beautiful and floaty-like. This is a great stretch to do anytime. I have a very stiff neck, so I do these a lot. All right, on your next inhale, bring your head center. On your exhale, let your chin come to your chest again. Feel that stretch going all the way down the back of your neck, down your spine. Awesome. Now bring your head center, and now we want to rotate. So we want to turn our chin so it's looking over our right shoulder, all right? Now keep breathing. And on your next inhale, bring your head back center, and on your exhale, take your chin towards that left shoulder. So you're just rotation in that cervical spine. Excellent. Now come back center. Drop that chin to the chest one more time. And then lift that chin up. All right, so with our neck, our cervical spine, we did rotation side to side. We did our lateral flexion, extension. We did our chin to chest. So really about 3 different things. We just do them in different directions. Now we're going to focus on one of my favorite things, the bulk of our spine, right? From shoulders down to our tailbone. All right. So Whenever we do yoga, we warm up our spine and get it moving in all 6 directions. So important, right? So we are going to do that right now, and we're going to start with something we call cow and cat. If you know cow and cat, go ahead and get started. If you do not, you're welcome to just wait and follow through with me. So cat and cow, we have our long spine. I'm just turning sideways so you can see better. And we're working on flexion and extension of our spine. So we start with a cow pose where we drop our belly and we lift our gaze, lift our chin, shoulders are down and back, all right? And then we move into a cat pose. So we round through the spine. So we're tucking our tail, tucking our chin. We're rounding, we're thinking of a Halloween cat right now. And then we inhale, drop our belly, lift our gaze. Exhale, tuck and round for cat. You always have the option of adding sound effects if you're into animal sound effects. I always think if I were doing this with kids, I know without a doubt they would start mooing and meowing as they did. Adults tend not to do that. All right, so we're getting the flexion and extension in our spine. One more in each direction, and then we're going to meet up with that spinal integrity. All right, come back to seated again. Shoulders come down and back. Awesome. All right, our next thing we are going to work on is our lateral flexion. So all that means is side to side, right? So maybe heel toe your feet apart just a little bit further than hip distance, all right? I'm going to allow my right hand to come to my right thigh. I'm going to inhale my left arm up. And then I'm going to reach like I'm reaching over something, like there's a big beach ball floating here in the air. I know that doesn't make much sense. Why a beach ball would be floating there in the air. All right, right now, push into both of your feet to make sure that you're not tipping off of your chair. And I don't mean for safety. Well, you shouldn't do it for safety either, but for stretching. Also, make sure that left sit bone is still in contact with the chair. If it has come off of the chair, then come out of that stretch a little bit. Okay? Now, the other thing is if your shoulder is a little sore, you can put your hand at your hip and put it on your shoulder. Because our purpose right now is to open up this side body, this stretching this way. Okay? So your hand really is optional. Now, take a few breaths. Now let's pull the belly in, come back to center, and we're going to go to the other side. Just kind of reset your spine. Bring that right hand up through your plant. All right, on an exhale, we are going to bend to the side. That side is stiff on me today. Now again, keep pushing into both of your feet. Make sure this right sit bone is still in contact with the chair and that shoulder blade isn't stressed right now. Left hand can be wherever you want. You can have it on a rung of a chair, on your thigh. All right, come back to center, and we're going to just move back and forth a few more times with this lateral stretch, all right? Loosening up that spine. When we do our warriors, we do a lot of flowing through warriors, and we use a lot of this side body. Now come back to center. And if you think about it, in your daily life, you do not move a lot that way, right? We move this way. So we want to get our spine moving in all the directions we may not normally do a lot, all right? So speaking of which, the last 2 directions are our spinal twist, all right? So feet are firmly planted. We've got integrity of the spine. We inhale and bring those arms up. Now on an exhale, we're going to slowly twist. So we're starting the twist with the belly. All right, then we're moving up to the ribs, then we're moving up to the shoulders and the gaze. Let that right arm rest on your chair or windowsill, wherever you are at home. Take some strong inhales and exhales. So visualize when we're doing this spinal twist, think about a dish rag, okay, that we're wringing out. So we're getting those synovial fluids moving, making way for new synovial fluids. Now, keep your spine nice and tall. I'm going to turn sideways for a second so that when we are in our twist, I can't talk, We don't start rounding. Okay, we never want to round when we are twisting. We want that spine again nice and tall. Awesome. Now let's come back to center. Just let that arm come down. Reset your spine, and we're going to go to the other side. So inhale, and on the exhale, tuck the belly in. Begin to twist from the belly, through the ribs, through the shoulders. Let that back hand come down. Maybe you gaze out over that back shoulder, if that's comfortable. If not, you can leave your gaze center. Again, keep breathing. Think about sitting up nice and tall in your twist. Excellent. Now let's slowly release, coming back to center. Rolling your shoulders a little bit. And now we're going to move to a little bit of a chest opener, all right? So we spend a lot of our time like this, all right, with our shoulders in. Maybe you're walking outside, you know, and so you hunch. We don't get enough time with our shoulders down and back, our chest open. So in yoga, we do a lot of chest openers to build the strong muscles here to balance. Everything is about balance. If we're twisting, we're strengthening this side, then we're strengthening that side. You know, so everything's about the yin and yang, right? You know, one then the other. All right, so from here, this is going to feel a little bit cow and cat-like, all right? We're going to interlace our fingers, if that's comfortable for you, and I'm going to push my hands forward and tuck my chin a little bit. So I've got a little bit of rounding, a lot like cat would be, okay? Now on your next inhale, bring your arms up overhead again if that's comfortable. Keep them interlaced, otherwise you can release them. Exhale, come back down and really push your hands away from you, tuck your chin. Inhale back up. And exhale, release down. I take advantage of a release to always roll my wrists on the way down. Not always, but a lot, right? All right, now I'm going to turn again. We are going to bring our hands behind our back, all right? Again, if it's comfortable, interlace your fingers. Otherwise, put your opposite hand on your opposite elbow. So we're going to roll our shoulders down and back and straighten those arms. Again, if it's comfortable, sitting up nice and tall. So we're opening the chest, opening the heart. Maybe we lift the chin a little bit. Excellent. This is something I do in line at the grocery store a lot. And I don't think you can do it too much. All right, release that down and come forward. So chest openers, right? Awesome. All right, roll those shoulders. Shake everything out a little bit, all right? And we are going to heel toe our feet apart. Heels are in, toes are out. Heel toe them apart as far as is comfortable, all right? So we're going to inhale those arms up. And on an exhale, we're going to pull them into either what we call like a cactus arm, or you can pull them into a W, all right? And we are going to slowly move side to side for some oblique crunches. Again, if your shoulders are not finding this comfortable, then put your hands on your hips. That works well too, okay? So, cactus arms, our W's, hands on hips, and we're just moving slowly side to side. And as you come up, really pull in that belly to lift. So we're lifting from the belly versus just letting that lower back do the work, all right? We want to really use those in each direction. And then let your arms come down, roll those shoulders a little bit, and just begin to heel toe those feet together. Awesome. We're going to do a little bit of warrior two seated, okay? So I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to take my right knee towards the front. In a seated warrior two, we have the option of bringing this left leg at this angle. You can see this angle I've got, right? We also have the option of bringing it down like this, which is what I tend to do. You can also scooch a little further back in your chair and do a full stretch of that leg, just like we do in standing warrior twos. your option, okay? I'm going to tend to do it this way. If you are a block or a prop user, you can put this under your knee. If you're not, don't worry about it. You can use a pillow. Shoe boxes work great if they're strong, like Red Wing shoe boxes work very well because they're super strong, just like the shoes. All right, now we've got that right foot forward. We've got this long posture. We're adding our warrior two arms. Arms are super strong, activated, sparking, right? They're on fire in a good way. So gaze out over that front middle finger. And when you're ready, we're going to flip that palm and we're coming into a reverse warrior. So we're just bringing that hand up. Back hand can come down your thigh. You can bring it to your hip, your chair. All right, so we're getting a deep stretch in that side body. Now let's come back towards the center, back to our warrior two. Strong arms. Reach forward, reach into the plant until you can't reach anymore. Then let that front arm come down to that front shin. Back arm can go straight up, can go over, can go behind your back in a bind, okay, whatever you prefer. Now, what we're going to do is pull that belly in and we're just going to flow back and forth a little bit. Excellent. Just a little bit of flow, a little bit of movement. All right, one more on each side again. And then let's come back to that warrior two. So when I talk about warrior twos, we gaze out over that front middle finger, right? And our arms are on fire in a good way. They're super strong right now. We've got our fingertips sparking. They're very active and strong. They're not just sort of just like flopping up there. They're like whoosh, strong. All right, let your hands come down. We are gonna come back to the center, all right? So take a nice big inhale up. We've got our legs in our goddess position. Exhale, bring your hands through heart center. Inhale as you bring those hands up. Exhale as you bring them down. One more. And then we're going to move to the other side. Awesome. Warrior two on the other side, Virabhadrasana two. Again, choose the way you like to have your warrior two. My left foot is forward. Left leg is forward. Foot is forward. My right leg can be open, so I'm at this angle. Or I might use that block or that shoe box again. All right, so I've got my knee on there, toes curled under in the back, and I come into this warrior two on the left side. I gaze out over that front middle finger. Again, arms are alive, fingers are sparking, whoosh, right? Nice and strong. Take a strong inhale and an exhale. And then let's flip that palm and reverse that warrior on this side. Okay, so again, your gaze can be up towards your fingers. It can be down your back leg, whatever feels better for your spine. Then we're going to come back to our warrior two. Moving into an extended side angle, we're going to reach, 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 reach. Let that front arm come down to the thigh. Back arm up and over. And then pull your belly in as we begin to just flow a little bit between reverse warrior and extended side angle. Awesome. You're all doing great. I know I can't see you, but I know you're doing great. You're getting strong, flexible. Awesome. One more in each direction, then we're going to come back to our warrior two. And whoosh, again, those hands. Now, flip those wrists a little bit, just like we did when we were doing our Pavamutkatasana, when we were doing our joint frame series. Roll those wrists a little bit. And release those arms down. Roll those shoulders. Let's come back center. I'm going to come back to my goddess feet, so I've heel-toed my feet apart a little bit. Heels are in, toes are out. I'm going to inhale those arms up. I am going to exhale and come into my cactus arms again. Now again, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, keeping the spine nice and long and engaged, I'm just going to begin to come forward a little bit. Awesome. Roll the shoulders. I had the phone ring in my ear. I don't know if it rang in yours as well. I hope it did not. I forgot to put do not disturb on, right? Sorry about that if it did ring in your ear. All right, let's heel toe those feet together. And we are going to come to a down dog. So come to standing by your chair, all right? I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. Hopefully, there we go. I just want to get a little more height. All right. So we're going to come into a down dog. Now, a down dog on the chair, you can use the seat of your chair or the back of your chair. So I'll demonstrate both. If you're going to put your hands on the seat of the chair, so I've got my palms on the seat of the chair. If that does not feel good for your wrist or your wrist, go ahead and you can make a fist and put fists on the chair. All right. So I'll demonstrate this way first. Hands are on the chair. We've got a nice long spine. So we're not letting our belly drop. We've got our belly pulled towards our spine. We've got our head in line with our tail. And then we're going to walk back into a down dog. All right. So what does that mean? We just keep walking back a little bit until our ears get closer to our biceps. All right. So we are finding length in the spine right now. I'm going to also demonstrate it this way. All right. So I can do it this way, same thing. I can walk back. Sometimes if you're taller, this might feel better. So either one, we're getting this long lengthening of our spine right now. So that's down dog. Some people also do it on the mat, and you can do that too if you'd rather. Chair's creaking a little bit. All right, I'm going to come back into that down dog. And now we always have the option in down dog to do something we call pedaling out, where we come up on all of our toes and we lower one heel and then we lower the other heel. So we call it pedaling out or walking our dog or whatever. You can call it anything you want. All right, or you can lift both heels together. Maybe you want to lift both heels and then let them both come down on the right side. You get a little bit of a different stretch. Then you can bring your heels center and let both of your heels come down on the opposite side. Again, you get a little stretch. All right, so whichever version of down dog you're doing, go ahead and walk your feet back closer to your chair. Hands are still staying on the chair. I've still got this super long spine. And what I'm going to do right now is let myself come into a forward fold. So I'm going to put a little bend in my knees and I'm going to let my head come down. Right now I've got my hands on my chair seat and I've got a good bend in my knees. All right, so this is a deep hamstring stretch, but we don't want to lock our knees. We want to put a bend in our knees and slowly let that release. Now, when you're upside down, go ahead and shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Always come back to yes again. All right, take a strong inhale and an exhale. And on your next inhale, we're going to take those hands, walk them up the shin, coming into what we call a half lift, otherwise known as a giant number 7. All right, so our shoulders are pulled down and back. Our belly is pulled towards our spine. All right, hands can be on the thighs. Some of you that have been doing this a long time, you might want to do airplane arms with your palms facing down or palms facing up. All right. So we're keeping this long spine, a lot like down dog. We're finding length in the spine. And now we're going to exhale and release into our forward fold again. Okay, so hands can come to the chair. They can come to your shins. If you're somebody that your hands reach the floor, they can come to the floor. Just depends. Awesome. Now once more, we're going to inhale coming into our half lift. All right, so we have one long line from the top of our head down to our tail, shoulders pulled back. Keep breathing. Excellent. Now put your hands in what we call our hip creases, which are down low It's this spot right where we actually do our bending. All right, we're gonna put a bend on our knees and we're gonna slowly lift the upper body long and strong as we come up. Let those shoulders come down and back. Awesome. Now we're gonna just put that together in a little bit of a sun salutation, and then we're gonna do a little balance and then be on our way. So again, you can face your chair. I'm gonna turn away just so maybe you can see me a little better. So I'm gonna bend my knees, sweep my arms, coming up into this tall mountain, reaching for the sky. And on an exhale, I'm gonna begin to slowly come into a forward fold. So I'm putting a bend in my knees, I'm gonna turn sideways, and I'm coming into that forward fold. Inhale and come into your half lift, walk those hands up. Again, visualize that number 7, your giant number 7. Exhale, come in to a forward fold again. From here, we're gonna bend our knees. We're gonna sweep those arms and we're slowly coming up into our tall mountain. We really wanna open the chest, so we're coming into cactus arms. So we're bringing those goalposts or those cactus arms, really opening the chest. Awesome. Now let's go ahead, bring our hands up and through heart center. Excellent. All right, a little bit more. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of balancing. So in yoga, we work on balance a lot. We work on static balance, which is what we're gonna do today. And we work on dynamic balance, which is, sometimes we'll do these flows where we're going between tree and chair and things like that. Today, we're gonna just do some static balance. Again, if you're somebody that's been doing this a long time and you want to go ahead and move into dynamic balance, you can. Our static balance builds balance, of course, but huge amounts of strength, all right? So we're gonna start with our one-legged mountain. So I've got my right hand on the top of the chair. My right leg is gonna be my standing leg. So I'm gonna start lifting the weight off of that left leg, all right? And we're gonna come into one-legged mountain. So I'm gonna keep my right hand there. I'm gonna visualize that I have like a string on my knee, like the marionettes, you know, marionettes. All right, and just visualize that string is being lifted up and your knee comes off the ground into this one-legged mountain. All right, foot is flexed, spine is nice and long, shoulders are pulled down and back, and we hold. Now, you can experiment. Maybe you can experiment with your hand positions. You might want to keep that right hand on the chair. Maybe you want to experiment by taking that one off a little bit, okay? Maybe you want to bring your hands to heart center, or you could bring them up into more of a tree or a cactus. You can do one hand by keeping one on the chair. All right, so if balance is newer for you, think about finding something we call our drishti, our focal point, maybe about 5 feet in front of you, something you can softly gaze at, all right? And that helps with our balance. So we're just gonna be here for 3, 2, 1, and release that foot down, shake that out a little bit. Take a strong breath, and we're gonna go to the other side for one-legged mountain. So go to the left side of your chair. My left foot is by the left side of the chair. And this time that's gonna be our standing leg. So again, don't lock that leg, keep it loose, but start putting the weight on that leg. Think about in the pose one-legged mountain, right? Mountain, super strong. All right, so you've got that strong leg, and when you're ready, then experiment with lifting that right leg off the ground. And again, think about it, it's just a string, just that knee is being pulled up. How high you lift it off the ground is completely up to you. If you want to keep that toe on the ground, maybe if balance is newer to you, and you say, I'm gonna keep that toe on the ground. Awesome, all right? So we're learning to isolate and build strength as we build that balance. If you do lift your foot up, make sure to flex that foot, okay? Keeping it strong, roll the shoulders down and back. Breathe, and again, your options with your hands. Maybe you lift one hand into cactus. Maybe you bring hands to heart center. You kind of do tree arms. Again, it's up to you. If you fall out of balance, awesome. You will never fall if you're not trying. If you're trying hard, you'll fall. I mean, I don't mean you're going to tumble to the ground, but like you may come out of your balance a little bit. No worries. You just come back in. All right, let's let that foot come down. Shake that out a little bit. We're going to do a little half sun salutation here. So we're going to bend our knees, sweep our arms up through the plants, and exhale into a forward fold. So we're swan diving down. We put a bend in those knees. We come into that forward fold. We inhale, walk those hands up into a half lift. Really pull those shoulders away. We exhale and come into that forward fold again. From here, bend those knees, sweep those arms up into your tall mountain. Exhale into your cactus arms. Really pull those shoulders down and back. Lift that gaze. And then let's bring our hands to heart center. Awesome. One last balance on each side, one of my favorite poses. Now, if you are a block user, you can go ahead and grab that block and put it between your feet. If you are not a block user, no worries, right? All right, so we're gonna move into tree pose. Something, if you're new to yoga, you've probably seen somebody doing tree pose, all right? It's a hip opener. So you think about back to when we did those hip openers, whoosh, whoosh, where we opened our hip this way and then we rotated them. That's where we're back to, hip openers. So I'm standing nice and tall, got my right hand on the chair. I'm gonna open this left hip. So my right leg is my standing leg. So I have a couple options here. I can open this hip and put that big toe on the ground. The heel is about on the side of my ankle, okay? If I'm using a block, I can put my big toe on the block. If I'm using neither, I can bring my big toe up to my calf. All right, I can bring it up even higher. Some people do that, okay? The only place we never put it is on the knee joint. We never want to put stress on that knee joint. So we've got tree pose. This is a hip opener, mountain, hip closed. Tree, hip open. All right, now in your tree pose, you're on one foot, find that focal point, that drishti. Breathe, keep the upper body nice and long. And then when you are ready, maybe you want to bring a hand to the hip, maybe you want to bring a hand to the air to make your tree branches. Maybe you bring both hands to heart center. Again, it depends maybe on how long you've been practicing or the day. Sometimes my balance can just be like, oh, it's spot on. And other days it's like, wow, I've got a tree that's more like a weeping willow, just blowing in the wind, you know? Now, if you bring your hands to heart center, go ahead and push those thumbs gently into your sternum to just remind yourself to keep that chest lifted. All right, for 3, 2, 1, let's close off that knee. Let that foot come down, shake that out, especially that standing leg, right? And we're gonna go to the other side. If you're a block user, go ahead and bring your block with you. If not, no worries, all right? Left leg is our standing leg. When you are ready, start moving into your tree. So we start isolating. If you've been doing tree a long time, you hop right into your tree. If you're newer to it, we're putting the weight on that left leg, but it's so strong. Think oak tree, right? Think the root of an oak tree. All right, then we open up that right hip. Big toe is on the ground, okay? Or you can have an option to bring it up a little further. We just don't put it on the knee joint, of course. All right, spine is nice and tall. Again, think oak tree, right? Oak tree is super tall, super strong, roots that go down so deep from that little teeny acorn. All right, shoulders are down and back. Again, choose your option for that right hand. Maybe you bring it into a tree pose. Maybe you bring it to your hip. Maybe you bring it down. Lots of different kinds of trees, right? Maybe you bring it into cactus arms. Maybe you bring it to heart center. And if you want to play with lifting up that left hand, you can do that. Again, our chest is lifted with this long, long spine. Again, any branch location is great for your hands. Now, also, just know, especially if you're new to balance, that one side is often a little trickier than the other side. As I tip a little bit to demonstrate the point. Not on purpose, it's just what I'm doing. All right, we're gonna close off this knee in 3, 2, 1. Bring that knee in, bring your arms down, shake that out a little bit, maybe roll those ankles a little bit. And one more half sun salutation. Let's bend those knees, sweep those arms up, come into tall mountain. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale into your half lift. So that really long, long spine. Exhale, soften into your forward fold. Inhale, bend those knees, really bend them, okay? So we're gonna rise up, start bringing your field of vision up as we come into tall mountain. And then bring your hands through to heart center. Awesome. All right. I want to take a moment to thank you for practicing today. If you are new to yoga, thanks for taking the risk, right? Sometimes it's hard to do something new and think, yeah, I don't know anything about it. And yoga is a practice. It's not we always call it a practice, and that's an intentional choice we use, because it's all about practicing to get better at living. It's not a yoga performance. And it's all about practice. So if you're new to yoga, thank you so much for coming out and giving it a try. If you have any questions, just message me below, or you can email me, whatever you prefer. If you're one of our regular yogis, it's great to see you on a Saturday morning. Fun for a change. And I hope you are all well, you stay healthy, keep moving. The light in me honors the light in you, the strength in you, the tenacity in you to keep strong and keep moving. Namaste. Take care, everybody. Be well. And I hope to see you again sometime.